Good morning, you guys. This is a super early morning video. I just got up. I want to answer somebody's questions about the aging video I made because he brought up some really good points. He said that one reason people don't like aging is because they start to feel invisible. And do I feel invisible? And I hadn't thought of that, but there is some truth to that, to feeling invisible. Um, a lot of employers don't want to hire somebody older um, because maybe their salaries are higher or their training isn't as recent or whatever reason. And then also, when it comes to dating, I definitely think there are fewer opportunities for people as they get older for several reasons. One is that when we're younger, there are more single people available. But also, I do think that younger women have a few more options in terms of the number of men who are after them. And because when I was younger, I had a lot of guys in their 30s with a lot of money going after me and wanting to take me out. And that doesn't happen now. So I don't know if times have changed or whatnot. I also follow several ladies in the profession on Twitter, and the younger ones are constantly, it seems like they have more appointments. But I don't know for sure. On the other hand, just because, this is what I want to say, just because I may be invisible to those men doesn't mean I'm invisible to all men. And how many men do I really need? So here's the counterpoint. And so it's like, not to get taken out by that. I watched a video last night on YouTube by this couple. This lady is like pushing 80. She's gorgeous. I'm going to link it in the description. She's hot. And her husband, they'd just been married a few months, was on there, and he's not bad looking. They're both pushing 80. And when he saw her online, he's like, that's the woman I'm going to marry next. Because his wife had died a few months prior uh, of COVID, I believe. He met this lady and he was instantly smitten. He goes, that's my next wife. He didn't want somebody younger, he wanted her, but she's gorgeous. So I think of something that my realtor told me, my broker, years ago. He's like, Sharzad, you don't need to get every client in San Diego. You just need one a month. You just need one a month. And so when you start to feel invisible, you just remember maybe we have become invisible to more people, but we don't need all people. There will always be a few people. How many friends do you need? You can always find a tribe, in my opinion. And so that's how I comfort myself with that. There's still people who want to be my friends. There's still people who want to see me. And there's still men who find me attractive. Okay? So invisible to those people, but not to those people. And when it comes to work, it's the same thing. I mentioned the other day the pickleball instructor where I go, he's in his late 70s. He's not invisible at all. He found a niche and a place where he wants to be. So what I'm trying to say is we can find our places where we give meaning to people. It can also be a lot of women start focusing on their grandchildren, or they get involved in volunteer work. So maybe invisible romantically or for jobs, but then again, for certain jobs, your experience can make you more valuable. Katie Couric is getting older, but she's still valuable. Terry Real is getting older, and he's still valuable. So we have to rely more on our knowledge and our experience, what we have to offer, and not just so much on our looks. One way that I stay away from my looks when I make these videos, the ways I make my money is all based off of my modeling business. It's all based off my body and my looks. And I know that cannot be sustained, but what can be sustained is this kind of stuff. Right now I'm making YouTube videos, but in the future I could parlay this into something where I make money giving advice or consulting with people or coaching people, based more on life experience, empathy, understanding, knowledge, mentoring, and so on. And I think that there's always a desire that people have for, I think of Dr. Ruth. She is my role model there because I was so struck by her, this elderly woman speaking so openly about sex back in the 80s. And she was old, but she was not invisible because she had that spunk, and the fact that she was older made it all work for her because people weren't just trying to fuck her. Imagine this young hot woman talking about sex. She's going to be constantly, men will be coming on to her. But Dr. Ruth, she gets respect. So I think that we have to find kind of our own niche as we get older. So because we can still be connected to our tribe and bring meaning to people. Okay? Men as well as women. For the spiritual part, Eckhart Tolle is really good. Eckhart Tolle, and I recommend that you listen to him speak rather than read his book, The Power of Now. The audiobook, they talk way too fast, and the book is just words going in. The power of Eckhart Tolle comes when you listen to him speak. Do not read the book. This is my strong advice. Do not read the book. Do not do the audible because you will miss the transformation that's possible. The power of Eckhart Tolle is not just in his words, but the way he speaks. With these pauses and inflections perfectly timed to give you an experience of stillness. You're not your thoughts. And he gives these pointers, which, when you listen to him, in the spaces between his words, this feeling of awe is created. Whereas when I'm reading his book and I'm racing through the words, I just feel like I raced through a bunch of stuff. So listen to him. He's all over YouTube. He's very calming. He talks about identifying with our thoughts, identifying with the body. And he talks about the pain body, which is that when we get reactive, and some people have a very strong pain body, how we can be with that emotion, that sensation. It's not going to kill you, just be with it. He doesn't talk that much about the pain body, but I highly recommend that you listen to that. It's very helpful for dealing with triggers. I really like Eckhart Tolle. And then the other part for the spiritual practice is transcendental meditation, which I find extremely powerful. And that also gives me what I call support of nature. And then my other practice is to be embodied and not just be in my head. Try to really feel my body at all times, like feel my heart, feel my body, stay embodied rather than getting lost in my head. It's a practice. I also keep my life very zen and low stress. Like right now, I was sitting outside looking at the trees and the wind blowing through the trees. I don't do it that long, just for a couple minutes, but just being out in nature or watching the wind blow through the trees and just feeling it and seeing it without having thoughts about it, if you know what I mean. It's just like very calming. So the getting older is part of a spiritual journey. My mom told me that the first third year of our life is for education. The second third of our life is for family and career. And the last third of our life is for our spiritual growth. And certainly when the children are gone, we have more time for that. And I certainly have more time for that. But actually, I watch a lot of YouTube videos. I don't meditate. I don't like to sit and meditate. So I'm like, okay, Sharzad, you can do it for 15 minutes once a day. That's better than nothing. So I force myself and I get a lot of benefits out of it. Yeah, certainly. If I were to go back into the workplace, I would. The other thing too is about not aging is to not be rigid. I catch myself when I'm rigid or when I get angry and I have to make amends or soften in some way, and to keep growing, to keep challenging myself, to keep trying new things, and to be fun and playful. It's but it's easy to do because I have food and I'm healthy and I have a home. But what if I were homeless? I always think, how happy would I be if I were homeless on a park bench? I would not be, that would be a challenge. Anyway, I try to keep my life really zen and not have too many things going on because I don't like being stressed out and I don't like getting angry. So when I get angry, I have to calm myself down. I have to change something in my life so that I don't get angry with that situation. Either put up some better boundaries or soften in some way. I think that our inner emotional state has a lot to do with uh, it has a lot to do with aging, because I think that being angry, rigid, and controlling are huge turnoffs. I want to age where I'm playful and happy and easygoing. Like my mother is such a good example of being flexible, where she's like, she has boundaries, but yet she's like, I don't have to be right, and I'm not rigid, and it doesn't matter. She's so willing to go, okay, this is fine. And she genuinely means it because she's not so attached to how things have to be. So that's another practice. See, aging isn't just about changing our outer appearance, it's about being malleable and soft on the inside. That's why I keep talking about this, because our body and our DNA is a reflection of our inner state and our energy, I believe. So, one thing I really try for is to, okay, God, what are you bringing me today? And can I go with the flow of life? Like a tree that blows in the breeze, it's strong, but it's flexible and it's yielding. So, to age well and happily, I strive for that. I want to be strong and have good boundaries, yet I want to be soft and yielding and not resist the flow of life. That's what aging can do. And guys, this is stuff that I didn't know when I was younger, because if we keep growing, we get better as we age. We get better as we age. And a good sign of aging well is that people like your company. Everybody loves my mom. Everyone adores my mom. And she's so cute and innocent. But she's old. She's old. She's in her 80s with a lot of wrinkles, and she's gotten very shorter. She's gotten shorter now than I am, and she's very thin, but she's got this inner vitality and vibrancy and love and strength and flexibility that makes her so desirable and visible in a different way. So I would say that my mom is my role model for aging. Um, uh, so I hope that you guys got something out of this video. I think you did, because I feel moved by talking about these things. Uh, I'm not saying I have it all covered. I'm a work in progress. However, I think those are some beautiful principles to live by. And then also when it comes to work is to, You know, a lot of us maybe are better off starting our own businesses and doing our own thing. There's so much creativity and aliveness. And the universe, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the founder of TM, talks about the creative, intelligent nature of the universe. The universe wants to create. The universe is intelligent, and it wants to create through us. So I think that's why, being an entrepreneur, starting a project, starting a business, creating something, it's very enlivening and life supporting. And I think that when people are stuck in traffic, also according to Ayurveda, people are supposed to live on 1 acre properties. Like, we need space around us, and I think living in dense cities, for me, is very stressful. I could never live in New York. I know a lot of people find it exciting, nothing wrong there, but I live with a lot of space around me and nature. Um, and I think driving in traffic on the freeway, it gets very stressful because we're going 80 and then everybody's stopping, and then we're going 60 and like, it can be very stressful to sit in traffic, go to the office, sit in a cubicle, do the work that they tell you. I think it steals our aliveness, our creativity, our connection with nature, our autonomy. Like, I think those are life depleting. For me, it feels that way. So I had to get out of the matrix and kind of do my own thing to feel more connected to life. Certainly, I have my blind spots. Certainly, these are just things I've discovered along the way. Um, these are things that make aging, in my opinion, um, just a different time of life with different things to look for. Um, and then, what can I contribute? Because if we contribute, we will never be invisible. If we stay socially connected and contribute in some kind of volunteer capacity or leadership capacity or mentoring capacity, you can be a guy in his 70s and lead a bunch of Boy Scouts or be a big brother, and people, you will not be invisible. And how many people do I need to be visible to? I need a small group of friends, and then not that many. And there are always people who will appreciate your inner beauty that you cultivate, in my opinion. But I want to know what you think. And thank you for your question, YouTuber Eli Korn. I had not thought about invisibility.